Good morning, welcome to the Stylo News Intelligence Update. Today we're taking a close look at the growing tensions in the Indo-Pacific, specifically focusing on China's recent power projection and what that means for regional stability.
It's April 15th, 2026. Our purpose this morning is to give you a clear, factual briefing on the key military and political maneuvers that have put the entire region on alert. Let's begin.
This morning's intelligence update is brought to you by ProWave AI. They're the developers of the AI-powered platforms we use, Stylo Intel Ops and Stylo News, which help us analyze the data and bring you this briefing. We have seen significant patterns of activity over the last 2 weeks. Our analysis today will focus on two critical flashpoints, the Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea. Recent maneuvers in both these areas demand a much closer look.
First, let's turn to the Taiwan Strait. Now, the main question for intelligence watchers is straightforward. Is China preparing for an imminent attack? Let's see what the data tells us.
According to our latest estimate, a full-scale invasion appears unlikely in the immediate term. However, and this is the crucial point, the risk of what we call intensified coercion, which is basically everything short of an all-out war, is absolutely elevated.
As you can see on this map, the activity is highly concentrated. China's air and naval forces are persistently operating around Taiwan, which has established a consistent pattern of what experts refer to as gray zone pressure tactics.
So, what do these tactics actually look like? Well, we're talking about continued air and naval activity around the island and regular crossings of the median line into Taiwan's air defense zone. They're also running drills that simulate a response to a U.S. nuclear attack. And on top of that, you have political warfare and even rehearsals for more serious moves like a potential quarantine or blockade.
So it's really important to distinguish between preparing for an invasion and preparing to apply pressure. We see no signs of the massive amphibious staging or logistical buildup you'd need for a full invasion. But what we do see with medium to high confidence are preparations for these coercive measures. Things like escalation management drills and increasingly complex exercises designed to send a message.
Now let's shift our focus to the second flashpoint, the South China Sea. Here, the story is really about island building and a clear pattern of growing assertiveness.
And the most significant development here is a major strategic shift. After a pause that lasted nearly a decade, China has resumed large-scale construction and land reclamation, this time on Antelope Reef.
And satellite imagery confirms the military nature of this work. It really illustrates the intent here. We can clearly see new runways, facilities that could house missiles, and advanced surveillance infrastructure. These aren't just small upgrades. They significantly extend China's power projection capabilities deep into the region.
And this island building isn't happening in a vacuum. It's just one piece of a much larger strategy to establish de facto control. We're seeing aggressive naval actions, like locking radar on a Philippine ship, extensive undersea mapping for submarine warfare, the use of unofficial maritime militias, and a complete rejection of that 2016 international ruling against its claims.
So, with all of this activity, who are the key players in this very complex geopolitical dynamic, and what are their positions? Let's briefly break down their perspectives.
As you'd expect, the viewpoints are quite far apart. From Beijing's perspective, these actions are a sovereign right. The United States is focused on supporting its allies and promoting freedom of navigation. The Philippines is trying to assert its own sovereignty while managing a very delicate economic relationship. Taiwan is, of course, bolstering its defenses. And the regional bloc, ASEAN, is trying to find a peaceful, diplomatic path forward.
The question then is, where do things go from here? We've identified the key indicators to watch in the coming weeks and months that will signal which direction these tensions are headed.
First, keep an eye on the scale and complexity of PLA military exercises. Second, watch for strengthening regional alliances, like the upcoming defense talks between Japan and the Philippines. Third, we'll be tracking the diplomatic efforts. Is there any real progress on that code of conduct? And finally, we should expect more of these gray zone incidents to continue.
All of this really brings us to the central strategic question for the region. As these tools of coercion become more common and more powerful, can diplomacy and international norms hold strong enough to maintain stability?
Now, we've only been able to scratch the surface in this morning's update. For the full, in-depth analysis of these events, you can listen to our podcast, the Stylo News Intelligence Update, available on your favorite channel.
And for more AI-powered news on demand, please visit us at stylonews.com. Thank you for watching.